just north of Indianapolis, 16 miles from the city, and you wouldn't know that you were in it because there is nothing that breaks up. It's all city. It's kind of like when you're in Jersey, it's all one city or all one state, however you want to look at it, is Carmel, Indiana. Now, Doug, you grew up in
Westfield, which is just north of Carmel there.
And people tease me because I've been in Indianapolis since 2004, and I think I know every street in Marion County, but I've probably only been north of 116th Street like 4 times.
No, we cannot get him to come north. He's always like, no, you got to come down to the city. We're going to go out to eat. We got to come down in the city.
I'm scared to go north.
Too many cows.
Yeah. And so Money Magazine in the September 2012 issue, and it's on newsstands everywhere, did what they call America's Best Places to Live. Carmel was #1, and actually I believe Fishers was 12th on that list. Well, the first thing I looked at is how did they get to that? And I thought it was really interesting that they made a point of describing how they narrowed that down. The first thing they did was they started with data provided by Onboard Information on all U.S. towns with populations of 50,000 to 300,000. So Indianapolis, I believe, has about 700,000 plus as an incorporated city. And as a metro region, we're at like, I think 1.7, creeping up on 1.8. A lot of people don't realize that Indianapolis has about 1.5% population growth per year. It's one of the reasons why it's the anti-Rust Belt, because we're actually growing in population. So they started with 744 towns that fit that numbers profile. Then they screened out places with a median family income of more than 200% or less than 85% of the state average. Those with more than 95% of one race, and those with poor education and crime scores. Now, part of that would be the affordability index that would contribute to that as far as how they were calculating that. But that brought that down to 401 cities. They then excluded retirement communities and towns with major job losses, and they ranked the rest based on job growth, home affordability, safety, school quality, healthcare, arts and leisure, diversity, and several ease of living criteria. That got them down to 360. Then they factored in the fiscal strength of state and local governments, which Indy is outstanding, jobs, housing, healthcare, and happiness. And they give the most weight to economic data, which brought them down to 100. Then they went and visited all of those towns and interviewed residents, and they assessed traffic, which, why is Carmel so proud about their circles?
I don't know. They're always putting a roundabout. Everywhere you look, they've got a new roundabout.
And they brag about them like they're this unique idea when Rome has had them for like 500 years, right?
Yeah, they're new to America maybe, or new to Indiana or something.
I travel all over central Indiana and all over Marion County, and I can tell you I was not sold on the roundabout idea. And now I am the poster child. They really do help traffic.
No, that is such the Hoosier mentality, because Hoosiers, my father-in-law will never forgive Mitch Daniels for daylight savings.
He was getting like death threats when he was doing that. Yeah, you're stealing an hour of my day. I remember seeing that in newspapers and stuff.
Yeah, it didn't matter that he put like $2 billion in reserves in the state coffers. That doesn't matter. You screwed with daylight savings, you're dead to me. You know, and it's the roundabouts like that. You know. It gets mentioned. It gets run in articles. They're like, Carmel with a new $500 million arts center and great business district and roundabouts.
I love the roundabouts.
And Aaron, I grew up and live in Carmel, and I too was not really sold on the roundabouts. But to be honest with you, they do cut down on the cost of stoplights and the maintenance of intersections and stoplights, and also they are a traffic reduction in accidents.
Yeah, no, I mean, growing up in Jersey, they're all over the place, and I actually took my driver's license test, and part of the test, the driving portion, was you had to make it through a circle. And they just call them circles, though. They don't call them roundabouts. No. So anyway, so I guess that was obviously weighted in because that's important.
Number of roundabouts in the city, amazing.
So one of the things that really jumped out to me about Carmel, Indiana, and it really does typify the whole Indy metro region, is jobs. And as a whole, Indianapolis has less than 4% white-collar unemployment. A lot of people don't realize that. But Carmel itself, thanks to mid-sized healthcare and tech firms, It has the second largest concentration of office workers in Indiana, and an unemployment rate that's a little more than half the national average right now, so right at 4%. I thought that was huge. That jumped out at me. And you know, the office workers in the commercial district in Carmel's huge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are all kinds of office buildings, and they're still expanding. It's amazing. I feel like we should have Mayor Brainerd in here. Right. I feel like he paid for an advertisement for Carmel, but yeah, it's a great city.
Yeah, although he wouldn't want to answer questions about how they paid for the Performing Arts Center. Right?
Yeah, exactly. There might be some questions, yeah.
Because that one jumps out from Indy Star all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have excellent schools. Obviously, they have a variety of housing, a huge commercial tax base. And a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, last week we were talking about the fact that Indianapolis is incredibly business-friendly. And those are the kind of things that you don't realize when you legislate and put in place things that make a state or a community business friendly. It does have a trickle-down effect, and it's a while before businesses then say, yeah, this is great, we want to set up camp here. But Carmel has done a good job of that. And what I loved, like Doug was saying, the article was about Carmel, but those of us who live in Indy Metro, it's seen as part of Indianapolis. You know, it's the north side, it's more affluent, but, you know, they cheer for the Pacers, they cheer for the Colts, they go to U of I and IUPUI, and psychologically it's very much one town and one city. I can't imagine that when they're out traveling around the world, they say, well, I'm from Carmel, Indiana.
Or they probably say they're from Carmel. Right, Gary? Is it Carmel or is it Carmel?
It's Carmel. And Carmel is out in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carmel is one of the most beautiful places on earth, and Carmel is a cornfield.
Yeah. The number one nicest city to live in, right? Or the small town.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, I think the point you're making, Aaron, it's a good one, it's a valid one, because we talk about Indianapolis so frequently here, but is that a lot of the things that made Carmel, you know, kind of stand out in those rankings are things that, you know, it's typical in surrounding communities and suburbs and pockets in Indianapolis, right? And a lot of that's because you've got statewide support, and then you've also got the Indy metro area, which is supporting and creating those opportunities. So it typifies the cities and the surrounding areas of Indianapolis, not just Carmel. Carmel has some other advantages as well, but that's why we like investing here.
Yeah, and as I speak to investors all over the country, I've been to Chicago, and the people of Chicago there's so many people who have lived in Chicago their whole lives have never been down here. Mm-hmm. They have no clue what kind of economy we have in central Indiana and in Indy Metro. They have no clue what kind of real estate market, what kind of housing affordability, how business friendly it is. And so when I show them, maybe not an article that says why this is the best place to live, because they think, well, I like Chicago. But when I show them the reasons why behind Money Magazine says this is the best place and that it's not some random subjective decision, then they go, okay, I can understand why I would want to own investment properties there. And it makes me, it's the reason why I know Gary's so passionate to meet with new investors here locally and network with them, because literally people are sitting on a gold mine, mm-hmm. and those that neglect to invest in this market are just really wasting an opportunity.
They're wasting a huge opportunity. And, you know, you buy low and sell high. And real estate's very low right now, and especially here in Indianapolis, there are a lot of deals out there. And the good thing about it is there's a lot out there that everyone can partake in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very true. And that's the reason why we do our events. Actually, this weekend, we're at the JW Marriott. We have investors from all over the country that are here today and tomorrow that we're meeting with, that we're putting them on buses, we're taking them around town, we're showing them what this city is comprised of and why it's such a great town. And invariably, people are blown away, aren't they, Doug?
Always. Always. Yep. They just don't, they consider Indianapolis, like you said, they think it's either the Rust Belt or they have it as an Indiana place, like they used to joke about in the late 70s and early 80s, right? So it's amazing. You open everybody's minds, and then we have no problem getting them to come back again. They love it.
Yep, that's true. So when we in the next segment, we're going to dig in. We're going to continue with the same theme. We're going to dig into 401ks and how many of you are not realizing that you're being ripped off. And my name is Aaron Adams. This is Real Estate Tips and Tricks, and you're listening to News Talk 1430 WXNT.